waited for because it is the opportunity for us to really know where exactly we stand after 4 years of President Akufo-Addo's government. So therefore, many people wanted to surely see exactly what is coming ahead. Let's say for some of us, really, what has been presented in this year's budget does not really come as a surprise at all. In fact, some of us sounded the alarm bell even back before the election, that there's no free lunch. And all the talk about Akufo-Addo is giving this free, MPP is celebrating that giving free, it was all nothing but electioneering gimmick that was simply meant to deceive the people to win votes. And once those votes have been won, we will pay every single one of those ones through our noses. So, to me, it does not come at all as a surprise. Now, to give you a little bit of the background, when MPP won power in 2016, basically they won power with a certain number of assumptions. And those assumptions were that there was money that easily could be found in this country, so therefore there was no need for taxation. There was very little need for borrowing. And now those were the high-sounding statement that we had ahead of 2016. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people went for that. Because human beings, that's who we are. When somebody sounds that's wonderful, we are tempted to want to say, no, well, maybe this person really means it. So they came into office on the back of that. From the very first budget that was presented in 2017, it was clear that they had no ideas. That they were coming really to play to the gallery in order to deceive the people. First and foremost, their plan was to blame every problem on the NDC. Two, to pretend that, listen, they had some magic wand, and the process give them time to be able to exhibit those, whatever it is that they were doing. Now, so we saw systematically from 2017 an attempt that was made to blame every single thing on the. If you current budget carefully, what they've done is to basically go on to the next page. The next page now is to blame every single thing on COVID. So 2017 to 2020, blame everything on NDC. 2021, blame it on COVID. And so if there's any problem, it's because of COVID, it's because of COVID, it's because of COVID. Now, if you look at the background carefully, Ghana is not the only country that has gone through COVID. All around us are countries that have gone through COVID as well. In fact, there are many countries in the world that actually have had a lockdown that is far, far, far more. We did a lockdown for a maximum 3 weeks. And the finance minister declared that the economy of Ghana cannot support a lockdown of more than 3 weeks. Indirectly, our economy is such an informal economy. In fact, the word he used, and he said this actually on May 12th, that Ghana's economy is too informal. About 90% of the economy is informal, and therefore we cannot sustain lockdown beyond 3 weeks. So after 3 weeks, lockdown was removed. Now, when you remove lockdown, what it means then is that you've allowed that informal sector to go back to work. That informal sector was working before lockdown. After the 3 weeks, that informal sector went back to work. Now, so you cannot say that your 3 weeks is the reason why your economy has collapsed. It cannot be. An economy that has 90% informal sector, you cannot say that informal sector that went off work for just 3 weeks, after 2 weeks went back to work, that informal sector contributing 90% is the reason why the economy of Ghana has suffered what it has suffered today. It cannot be. So this is nothing but excuses that are being provided by a group that decided to simply go on an electioneering expenditure. And after they have won the power through deception, through lying to the people, they now want to give you the next lie that will make you again give them opportunity to do what it is they intend to do for another 4 years, which is really nothing but lining up their own pocket and doing stuff for themselves in the manner in which we have seen over the last 4 years. Now, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Benin, Togo, Rwanda, all those countries have also gone through COVID. In none of those countries have you heard that as a result of COVID, we are bringing a COVID levy of 1%. We are increasing national health insurance by 1%. We are bringing something you call a Bola tax. We are increasing the fees that you pay at the toll booth. We actually are bringing. You don't hear any of that in any country except in Ghana. Except in Ghana, a country that did just 3 weeks of lockdown. Now, the excuse is that, you know what, we gave you free water, we gave you free electricity, therefore we need to actually recover those ones. Now, if this same group claimed that between the period, let's say June all the way to December, this country was suffering, the people of this country were suffering so much that they could not afford water, they could not afford electricity. Now, what has changed so suddenly in March? That suddenly this country has become so wealthy that the people of this country now can no more, and we are not just being asked to afford, we actually are being asked to cough more money than is available. So it tells you that what is happening here is simply a government that clearly is out of sorts and decide that, listen, we are going to just go for broke because, you know, there's nothing else we can do in order to survive. So it's important to lay aside the whole talk about was in a COVID being responsible for the problem. That is not the truth. Cote d'Ivoire is not having a budget deficit of 11.6%. Nigeria is not having a budget deficit of nearly 2%. Togo is not having a budget deficit of nearly 12%. None of those countries is having it. So we cannot say it's because of COVID, that's why we have a budget deficit of nearly 12%. No, it cannot be. That's absolutely a lie. The reason why we are having this high budget deficit is because this government went for desperation in election, spent money through the roof, and as a result of those money that they have spent, they have actually caused a lot of debt that you and I today are being asked to literally cough back for. So it's important for you to appreciate where it is we are going. Now, I've also heard the issue about, you know what, we need to be able to increase these taxes so that we'll be able to literally grow the economy. There's nothing more. That's a strange logic. It's absolutely strange logic. Because you know what? If you have an informal economy that you said is 90%, now that informal economy, what it is they need at the moment is actually relief. So that they'll be able to use whatever little income they have to put into whatever businesses they do and grow those businesses. Now, people who are in the formal sector, let's say government workers, and people who are in what you call in the proper private sector, formal sector, they have the capacity sometimes to be able to make adjustment when you bring taxes. So government will definitely go through some kind of wage review, and as a result of that wage review, take into account maybe inflation and raise salaries of people who are working. And people who are in that sector, maximum 630,000 people. Those are the people who are working in the public sector. That is government pays. Then you have those who are working in the private sector, maybe the bank, the telecom, and so on. I mean, largely they have a little capacity so they can manage. What about 90% of the people who actually operating in either very, very, very small businesses or informal sector? What happens to them? You increase all these taxes. What you are doing effectively is that you are taking away from them the little they have. And they represent 90% of the economy. So effectively you are destroying that economy by going on what you call that reckless expenditure you want for election purposes. Now you are coming to inflict so much pain on this 90%, and you expect somehow that the economy of Ghana is going to grow. It obviously cannot grow. But you see, it's important for us to speak up, because a lot of time when a lot of this deception goes on, our quietness is what emboldens the people to continue doing what they are doing. When they started all the lies about, listen, I mean, there's economy of Ghana, we can manage it, we have means by we can find money, people should have really exposed them immediately. A lot of people were quiet. We saw over the last 4 years that they really had no answers. For instance, when they came, money that we were borrowing, okay, stood at about, the total borrowing was about 120 billion at the time they came into office. As we are speaking today, we are talking about that amount within a period of 4 years, jumping to about 280. 280. I mean, from 120, you take it to 280 in 4 years. And if you go even into the composition of what it is they've spent that money on, you realize that, for example, before they came to office, the total amount of money that we have, that was going into what you call development expenditure, which grows an economy. We had about 4.6%. As we talk today, they have taken it from 4.6% down to about 1%. Meaning a lot of the money they are even borrowing is not even going into really building the solid foundation that are needed, that can grow the economy, that can generate jobs, that can create opportunity for people. So what it is we are having today is creating debt, making those debt now to become your burden, and unfortunately not even using those debt properly to be able to grow the economy, expand, and create job opportunities. So we are really in what you call a very difficult situation. And going forward, things are only going to get worse and worse, because we are dealing with a group of people who they are not even humble enough and honest enough to tell you the bare truth. Now, an economy that goes consumption, because that's what we saw over the last 4 years. It's an economy that really is destroying its own potential for the future. If you think that the only way you can manage an economy is to basically go, everything is free, or we are giving you free this, free that. Money that you are supposed to be using to build the strength and the foundations of the economy, you are using it for free stuff. Later on, you come back and punish the people on the back of those free things that they have not even asked you. Because how many people actually told this government that, listen, after the period of the lockdown, we simply could not pay for water? How many people told them that? For the period of the lockdown, and immediately after, maybe people have suffered. So it's understood that some amount of support for that period is okay. All other countries do the same. But in every other country in Africa, after the period of lockdown and give and take some additional 1 month, when they saw that people started getting back to work, they took away some of those. Then we, because we had politics in mind, pretended we care, and then we inflicted all these people. And the worst part is this: when they were doing all this, the thing that they call a relief that they were giving to people, you will notice the parts that actually get the greatest attention is the places where they can do their procurement and do the stealing that they are known for. So, for example, as you speak, 50% allowance that's supposed to be given to what you call frontline workers is still in arrears. A lot of that is still in arrears. Why? Because they can't steal out of that. But all the things that have to do procurement, where they quickly have to go, the other deals to give to these people, that is exactly what the money has been spent for quickly. Because that's where they can steal the money they want to steal and use it for electioneering that they wanted to use it for. So we're talking about a country that really is in difficulty. Difficulty because there is no honesty on the part of the leadership. The leadership decides that, listen, people are not smart enough, so we are going to just deceive them. We are going to pretend that we are caring about them. We are pretending that we are going to do things for them for free. But really what they are doing is to create an opportunity to loot the country and turn around and tell you later on that, after all, did you think that when we are giving you all these things for free, it was going to remain for free? Did we put a gun on their head that come and give things for free? No. You claim that you are Father Christmas, you can give everything for free. Why are you inflicting the pain on the people of Ghana? Did you not tell the people of Ghana you knew how to develop this economy without taxes? That what? It was a lazy man's approach to governance to go for taxation and also go for borrowing. Suddenly, where are all the ideas that you say you have brought? They have been boasting, for example, that they have brought about a formalization of the economy. I mean, they boast about it used to be only 3 million people or so who had what you call tax identification number. Or they've been able to now increase it to over 15 million people. That actually is the more reason why you should not be taxing us. Because if you claim that you have done that formalization, it means that you have many more people. And if only 3 million people were contributing to tax yesterday, now you have about 15, then you should be able to expect that much more tax will come to you without having to burden people with increased VAT, increase this and increase that. So that tells you again that it is all talk. They do quite a lot of talk. When it comes to the reality, it's nothing to write home about. Now, so I mean, I'm sure there will be opportunity to ask questions. But basically, the important thing I want you to appreciate is that they basically have run this economy aground. That really is what it is. I mean, an economy where, for example, out of every 100 cities that is available to us by way of revenue, a minimum of 90 goes to simply take care of public sector wage and interest payment. We have not even talked about what you call the payment of the principal, because when you borrow, you have to pay both the principal and the interest. Only the interest payment and public sector workers pay alone is taking about 90%. We've not added the amortization, which is the defrayment of the principal. We have not actually started talking about what you call statutory funds, because we have a number of things which are statutory payment. Debt fund need to get a certain percentage. What's the name? DACF, that's the District Assembly Common Fund. National Health Insurance. Those are statutory. You cannot run away from them. Obligations. if you add those ones to these two that I just mentioned, that 100 that we are talking about is gone. We actually have to borrow to be able to do that. We've not even started talking about goods and services, running the public administration. We have not even started talking about building infrastructure of this country. So that tells you exactly the kind of economy that we are dealing with. Totally run down economy. And these are the people who tell you that they have what you call ideas coming from heaven. They know how to manage this economy. That they made an economy that was run down, and they have the magic formula. That is exactly what they have actually left for us. So once we have this background, I think I should take a little break, and then if there are questions, we should be able to look at the other side. Thank you very much.